Good evening, race fans, and welcome to PSGL's F13. No, your ears do not deceive you. This is not Sunday night. It is still Thursday. My name is Webbo, though, and I'm here with Jake, just helping out tonight on a Thursday night for F13. Jake, great to share the comms box with you for the first time.
Yep, sorry about that. I was having a few issues with my mute button. Yeah, it's great to be. It's great to be back. Obviously, I missed last week due to some unforeseen issues. Tom did a great job doing solo comms, and yeah, it was a crazy race last week. I don't think we're going to get the same here tonight, or not the same level of craziness. But you never know. F13 is one of those tiers. It just seems to be like anything can happen, and it's really unpredictable. So I don't know what to expect tonight, and that makes it should be a lot of fun.
Awesome, and we're heading to the track of the weekend in real life as well, which has got a really cool symmetry to it. So we'll be talking about all the same corners, all the same struggles that the drivers are going to experience this weekend as a whole. Jake, you talk about crazy race. Where do we find ourselves in the F13 standings right now?
It's so difficult to call at the moment. I mean, the standings are super close. Obviously, we are 3 rounds in, so I suppose that's kind of to be expected to an extent. But we had just so much happen at Spa last week. Only 5 people finished the race. Technically, 1 or 2 people more got classified just because they crashed out back close to the end. But nevertheless, it was... Currently, at the top of the championship, we got Dino after his win and fastest lap last week, but he's only 1 point clear of Loop 2 Red. And then we got Mr. Grumpy in 3rd and Ishtry in 4th. But the top 4 is separated by 6 points. And we've had 3 different race winners thus far.
Brilliant. That's exactly what you want from the early part of a championship. So we've got a Dion and a Dino, I see. We've also got, is it just Speed Quinn tonight reserving?
We've got Speed Quinn reserving tonight. Let me just have a quick scroll through. I believe, I think it's just Speed Quinn that's reserved in the moment. So yeah, other than that, I think all of them are full-time drivers. And yeah, it's fair to say that this is such a difficult tier to call. And what I would also say as well is that in the last 2 F13 races, the driver that has qualified last has gone on to win the race. How's that for a stat?
Excellent stuff. So lots of last to first challenges going on. Is that down to strategy or dumb luck or safety cars? What's the biggest issue there?
Well, I believe Dino last week, I think he crashed out in qualifying, so it's
nice.
And we had a lot of retirements last week, as I've already touched upon. I think there were about 3 occasions last week where the leader of the race crashed out and then brought out safety cars, which just turned the race upside down once again. So yeah, I'm not expecting the same level of safety cars of drama tonight, but you never know. Zandvoort's a bit of a tricky track, and there's a lot of unforgiving runoff areas.
Absolutely, it's narrow. It's a track that seems to really reward a driver's confidence levels and rhythm, but it can bite. It can bite quickly and very hard on our drivers. So I'm not expecting a clean run lights to flag.
No, definitely not. And in the Thursday tiers as well. The Thursday tiers, I feel like they're renowned for being a bit more chaotic. Obviously, these are the lower tiers. They're not bad drivers, of course, but maybe consistency is maybe where some of them are just lacking ever so slightly. A couple of things to note as I think we're just about getting ready to ready up for qualifying. So Mr. Grumpy and MCFC and Oshu MCFC both have 10-second race time penalties to be added to this race time. And double whammy for Anoshier in the fact that he's also got a qualifying ban. Although, based on the last 2 weeks, who knows? That might be an advantage.
It might be. Wow. Okay. So yeah, and we can't even go. Can they go out and get their setup on and do an installation?
I believe they're allowed to do that. Yes, as long as they don't do a lap time.
Excellent. I see we've got some people watching us already. Say hi if you're watching us. Tell us who you're here to cheer on and supporting, or if you're going to brave it and try and listen to us talk and you're driving at the same time. If any of the drivers are watching along, it'd be great if they can let us know the weather forecast, but because we can't tell as commentators, Jake.
No, and to be honest, sometimes even the weather forecast isn't accurate to those that do get to view it, so who knows. Quick update on the soap opera that we've had him in the build-up to this race. Flying Croat is now racing, apparently.
Oh,
So
excellent.
there we go.
Well,
To anyone who doesn't know, he's put in a Discord about 5 or 6 times that he's racing of and he's not racing. So,
excellent. Yeah.
But he is here, and we've got a full grid as Fair's Whip Killer joins, and I believe he's also another reserve. So we've now got 3 reserves on the grid for tonight.
Now, is FaZe a race team, or because we've got a FaZe Max in F11, or is it a pseudonym for FaZe?
Good question. I'm not. They put me on the spot, and I'm not too sure actually.
I'm kind of stream of consciousness, I'm afraid. I was just thinking aloud, but because we've got a FaZe Max, it's yeah, made me wonder.
Could be the case. I mean, I guess we'll find out if we get anyone from the FaZe team commenting, saying, confirming one way or the other.
Yeah, maybe it's a surname, and it's just the whole FaZe family racing in PSGL this year. Well, I'm looking forward to this one. We've got the countdown on the screen, so we'll be getting going very, very shortly, and get a good look to see how the drivers tackle this difficult challenge.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what sort of times they do. I think we are going to get sort of very close qualifying times here. I think this is obviously the problem with Spa. The reason why we had so many DNFs was obviously the curbs at Spa are quite horrendous on this game. So. It's Eau Rouge and Radion is a very good example. It's once you lose the rear end of that corner, I think even the top drivers in the top tiers are going to struggle to get it back. So I think how these guys feel.
Definitely, yeah. Completely agree. I mean, there are a couple of tricky areas on this track, but it's not quite so omnipresent as the threat of exit curbs in Spa. I think this track has its own roller coaster nature, though, not quite as extreme, but it's that change of elevation can certainly catch you out, and there's some very satisfying sections of the track. I'm thinking particularly that flat out 5, 6, 7 and one downshift into 8 that's particularly good if you were driving well and your rhythms going well for you. It can be very enjoyable.
No, absolutely. I think it's a nice track to drive as long as you can just find that rhythm right. If I had to compare it to a track, because it's a strange one really, because obviously it's brand new for this year in real life, but essentially it's a very old school circuit. It was built ages ago. So, and if I had to compare it to something, I think the Hungara Ring is probably the track that I would like to compare it to, in the fact that it's very tight, twisty, you need a good rhythm, and realistically, the only real main overtaking spot is down the pit straight into turn 1.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that when I've seen drivers on this track, it's so tempting to launch a dive bomb on other areas into the 2 sort of hairpins, but it really doesn't pay off very well or very often. I haven't seen very many successful moves surprising another driver around the corner. Looks like we've got Sabetti is our first out there on track, so perhaps do him the honour as he's got his setup fastest. We'll follow him along, Jake, and maybe we'll ride on board through his first lap once he gets himself running. All the drivers coming out for their first out laps. Looks like everyone keen to get going. Should get probably 4 good runs in. Do you think, Jake, this on this track?
I reckon so. We've already seen a few drivers go out there on a medium tyre, which I don't like to make any early judgment calls about the weather, but that usually means that they're not expecting any rain, certainly not at the start of the race, because otherwise there'd been no real reason to run the mediums unless you want to get an eye-opener in for the track. But yes, Sabetti round this final turn 14, a long banked curve, and onto the pit straight, ready to take on a lap of Zambor. And down to turn 1 he goes, a little bit wide there, but he can cut it back to make a good exit to the corner. We've already got yellow flags, express, probably just people queuing up to start their laps, and now it's very much one corner into another, this part of the track, and so far looking pretty smooth, but he's on the medium tyre and he does look a little bit hesitant. It very much looks like a first lap, getting used to things, and then it's easy flat now. And then this corner here, this is for me one of the trickiest corners on the track. You've really got to make sure you carry the speed all the way through, and then to this double apex right-hander. 10 of the 14 corners around this track are right-handers, so it's very much a front left tyre destroyer, this track, in a way.
Yeah.
And then there is a DRS zone here. I almost feel like they put that in out of sympathy, if anything. I'm not sure how useful it really is. And then into this sort of final, what you almost call stadium section, reminds me a bit of Mexico, in that regard. You've got the huge like bankings there full of supporters who will be only cheering on one guy this weekend, of course, and around the final bank curve to set what will be the opening lap time of qualifying. I don't think, well, he's on mediums anyway, so I wouldn't imagine this would be a pole time, but I think there's a lot more to come from Sabetti.
111.933 for Sabetti, so relatively safe banker. I'm guessing. Istri is next in the Haas, heading down as Sarking betters that time by significant margin. Istri only gets slower than Sabetti, but Speedquin in there for the McLaren, and his teammate comes in just behind him, 111.386, AB53, that is. Correct me if I mispronounce any of these names. C199, that's a difficult one to read out. Can we say Stee or Steck?
I've just been saying Steve, so yeah, you good.
Is P5, as Luke 2 Red goes in as P4, and we've got Gabia puts in a very, very safe banker lap. I wonder if that was rife with mistakes. And Tomo is about to see where he compares with his Alfa Romeo teammate, but he goes in the pits. He's serving his penalty potentially. Dion, P6, 111.5 on medium tyres. So Speedquin's time looking very good at the moment on mediums.
Yeah, that's a nice opening lap from Speedquin. Good confidence booster, 111.2 on those medium tyres. Joshiwashi currently quickest. It's been a frustrating season for Joshiwashi. He has 9 points to his name, which you'd look at and think that's not too terrible of a start, but I genuinely think he might be the quickest driver in this tier. But he's very mistake prone. We've seen a lot of errors from him in the races, across all 3 races so far. So the pace is there. He just needs to iron out that consistency. So he'll be happy where he is at the moment, but of course it's a full 36 laps is where he needs to replicate that as Mr. Grumpy goes across the line. This is a good lap on mediums here. This is a very good lap on mediums, a 110.7. Very
beautiful.
Good.
I just watched Cam Rules, who has just made a mistake on the way into turn 15 and has knocked off his front wing. He's avoided a disqualification, but just to mention that's happened, so no banker lap for him. Ewan's here to cheer on Ferrari. That's good to hear. And we just joined Flying Croat. One of his favourite cars, I believe, is the Mercedes, so should give him a little bit of confidence. He's just getting through the the Hans Ernst corner of turn 12-13, and getting the car, missing the apex significantly. I'm guessing this isn't a particularly push lap for him. I think he's headed into the pits. Maybe he's caught some damage somewhere along the line. So your order then on the 12th with 12 minutes to go is Gabia is first from Mr. Grumpy Joshiwashi. So strong showing for the Alpine team. Sarking and Dion with Istri, Speedquin, Luke 2 Red, AB53 and Stee at the moment in 10th place. Field spread quite close between 3rd and say 10th, but the 2 leaders are way out in front at the moment.
Yeah, and Gerby, I've got to say, fair play, massive improvement on his opening lap, which was a 123, so definitely saved it all for that second lap. I've got to say, the Alpines, they need a strong result tonight. They got 24 points at Bahrain, the season opener. I've got to be honest, after watching Bahrain, I kind of thought Alpine are going to run away with his constructors. In the following 2 races, they've only scored 5 points. Really struggled. Mr. Grumpy was in the lead at Spa before it all went wrong. It's the pace is there for the pair of them, as you can clearly see from the qualifying laps, but it's all about hooking it up over the race distance. I think they'll be happy to see the back of Spa, though, and maybe this will be better for them. But I tell you what, Mr. Grumpy doing a 110.7 on mediums, that's a lap that's going to make a few people take notice as well. Dion Null did a good lap on mediums in 5th, a 111.0. So the medium tyre, I think it's around 6/10 slower than the softs around here. So keep an eye out on those 2 guys when they switch over to the faster compound.
Definitely. I mean, there's no real reason for Mr. Grumpy to switch off those mediums at the moment if he's so competitive at the front. Sarking is on a lap at the moment. He's going through the roller coaster section, turning into turn 9 now. 10 follows, and then he's coming now into the Vodafone hairpin, which is turn 11. See how his time compares as he goes through the second sector. Timing beam, he's 3.5 tenths faster, so that's significant. That's front row worthy at the moment. Sarking then just got one major braking area to navigate, and then it's foot to the floor here on in. Let's see where he can go. He's on track to better his position by at least a place or two. 3 tenths up to the front row. Sarking in the Haas front row at the moment on a 1 at 10.651, not far off that lead.
No, good lap for Nash drive there. Nice lap. I was following Sabetti to see how he did. Unfortunately, only did a 1:11.4 on softs. Just looks like he's struggling to find the rhythm at the moment. Dino asked in the chat, what did, well, both of us make of a spa race last week, F13. I don't know for you how much you saw of it. Obviously, I filled you in on the fact that there was only 5 finishes. Not surprised that Dino's asked that question. He probably wants us to mention the fact that he went from last to first. Oh, Josh Iwashi's out of qualifying. Oh, he was on a good lap as well.
He
but
was.
Lost it just coming out of 13. And, it's what I talked about earlier. The pace is there, but just those little mistakes seem to keep creeping in.
Yeah, needs to just learn to drive at 9.5 tenths, I guess, a little bit sometimes. But I suppose qualifying when you're near the front, you can afford to push fairly hard. I think Speedquin's out there. I think he's just slowing at the moment, maybe coming on a cool down. He's gone in P2 now, so just got on the front row potentially. But yeah, big moment for Joshy. That's not going to help his preparation at all.
No, you almost go into the race pretty cold as cam rules goes up to P5. Yeah, you almost go into the race feeling a bit cold. Bit of an issue here. I hate to bring it up, but an Austria MCFC, I'm pretty sure, had a qualifying ban. He's in P6, so there could be some ramifications for that. What I imagine will most likely happen is this qualifying ban will probably get kept put onto next week or something. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he shouldn't be done a qualifying lap there. So a bit of an odd one.
Well, that will be for the steward to decide. We'll just call what happens in front of us, I suppose, for this evening. But yeah, stewards will take a look. I don't know if anyone will report him or will report him. But Gareth Hall in pole position by a big margin all of a sudden, and everybody's out there on softs, but Gareth Hall goes on a 110.1, so we hadn't seen him near the front at all until this point, and sneaks his way straight onto pole. Great lap.
Great lap. Yeah, I was going to say his middle sector looked very quick, so I was interested to see what he did, but yeah, I wasn't expecting that sort of margin at the front. So a nice lap from Gareth Hall. He quite the opposite to Josh Iwashi from what I've seen of Gareth Hall so far. He's maybe not had the most pace from what I've seen, but he's been very consistent in the races. But
right,
I don't know, maybe just getting to grips with things. I know commentary is his priority, so maybe just getting a bit more practice in, and he's starting to show what he can do. I believe Flying Croat went for a spin because I think that's who Gareth Hall
was in the dust.
At.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he finished his lap, so it was an interesting view. I'm watching Dion Note at the moment. He did do a lap on softs just now, but I think he's gone for a second flying lap, and he's a couple of times quicker.
He's up, isn't he? He's definitely up. So, looking at that huge bank of gravel, someone's going to end up in there tonight, I fear. And now it's time. Oh, he's going to... Oh, no, he's tricking me. It looked like he was shaping for the pits. 2.5 tenth improvement, up to P3. So, brilliant. Nobody is staying at the top tonight, Jake.
No, and Gerbier on his lap has gone for a spin, and thankfully him has avoided a wall, because I think at that speed he would have probably been out of qualifying. But yeah, Gerbier was slightly up on his first sector, but lost the back end of the car, and he can just sort of tread back to the pits. I wonder if Cam Rules has had a crash as well, because he's out of qualifying by the looks of it.
Sarking has gone even faster. He's 3.5 tenths up on his existing time through Sector 2. Is that Sector 2? No, that was his previous time? Confusing.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I think that's the previous lap. I don't know why it does that.
Dominic was just saying in the chat, how... I think he means how low do the quali times go if this is F13? Very low is the answer in up in the F1 divisions, for sure.
Yeah, the only other thing I feel like you might have asked is how many tiers. This F13 is the bottom tier.
Oh, okay.
So this is the lowest tier, if that's what he's wondering. Yeah, this is the we do F12 and F13 on a Thursday. These are the lowest PS tiers. There's quite a few, it's fair to say.
Definitely a purple middle sector for Sarking this time, so 3.5 tenths up. That's going to help if he can consolidate that or just eke a little bit more. He'll be back up there fighting at the front. He's got his teammate next to him on the grid, which is more of a curse than a blessing, I often see. So we probably want to just get on a different road to him. And boom, straight up to P2. That's a beautiful lap from Sarking on a 110.421. But there's still a nice big hole for someone to slot into between first and second.
Yeah, absolutely. Gareth Hall's still got a couple of attempts margin. We keep seeing yellow flags all over the place. Don't know if that's for people letting other people through or if that's for actual incidents going on. I'm trying to see at the moment who's on a lap. I was going to say Dan WDL, but he's not on a quick lap. He's about to cross the line. His first lap, but it's not going to make any impression. It's a 117, so
yeah,
it's something went wrong. I'm just wondering. Oh, Stee goes up to second. I didn't quite catch that one, but Stee up to second on a 110.2, and that is a lot closer to Gareth Hall's benchmark time.
Absolutely. Fantastic stuff. I just saw Luke 2 Red just make a mistake, run wide. I think he's bailed that particular lap. AB53 is on one right now, so we'll see where he crosses the beams and how his progress has been so far on this lap. A long first sector, and he's nearly 3 tenths up, so he'll want to gain a little bit more if possible. Misses the apex on the entry to 9, but carried enough speed through. Momentum was held. Again, a bit wide on the apex through Vodafone. And let's see where that leaves him. Yeah, he's lost all that he gained before. So 13th or 12th might be as good as it gets for AB53 on this run, but he'll get round and he'll have one final attempt, I would have thought. He's got a ghost car in the middle of the track in front of him. That's not going to help. Opens the DRS and sprints to the line, and does indeed. He actually went over his time very slightly, so stays P13. Mr. Grumpy next. He's a tenth and a bit under his time. Make that 2.5, and a new fastest lap.
Tomo Jr. I think he had to rejoin the session. That's his first lap time in, but yeah, no rustiness there. Straight to the top of the timesheets. Just 7 thousandths of a second in it. The reason for the ghost car, by the way, is because FaZe Whipkiller was on a lap and went for a spin just in front of the McLaren driver.
Mr. Grumpy. Yeah, improves up to 4/10 improvement. That was nice, up to P4. So we've still got a big mix of teams in the top 10. I think we've almost got one of each colour, have we? 2 of the Haas, but yeah, that's kind of quite cool to have everybody so well spread across the field. Should be interesting as we see the teams come together later in the race. Who else is out there right now? We know Tomo and Mr. Grumpy just set their laps. Gareth is starting one, so it might be worth watching him shortly. He's about a third of the way through the lap at the moment. Anybody finishing a lap? I think Gerbia is. Let's see. Any improvement from 6th? Pole position. How'd you like that? 110.007. Very cool. Gerbia, beautiful lap. It's a shame he didn't do the Aston Martin, a 007 time.
Well, I think Anossi has just solved his qualifying ban issue. He's just qualified from qualifying being parked in a dangerous location. I wonder if he noticed that or if that's accidental. Either way, Dion Null, his teammate, is about to come up to the line. What's he going to do?
Wow.
It's P2. The Aston Martin driver. So Gareth Hall had that massive margin, but he's all of a sudden down to 4th.
This is amazing how frequently the front row has been changing through this session. There's absolutely no way to spot who's going to get this pole position tonight. I think Speed Quinn is in sector 2 at the moment. I'll make sure we get to Gareth shortly. Let's see how Speed Quinn gets on through his second sector, but we want to make sure we watch Gareth because he had a lot of speed earlier on. Speed Quinn is just 77 hundredths quicker than his previous time. I don't think that's going to set the world alight at the moment, but Gareth Hall is a similar amount under in his first sector, and let's ride with him, Jake, and see if he's gaining or losing anywhere.
Yeah, he had a bit of oversteer for the middle part of the lap, but that's not too uncommon. We'll see how the middle sector's working out for him. Oh, he's found a lot of time as Speedquin goes up to P2 on a 1:10.0. It's all tightened up and the checker flag is out, so these laps have to count for these guys. And Dino and Ossia's kind of ruined Dino's plan of a first to last challenge again, because quite clearly he doesn't really want to do a lap time. Gareth Hall round the final corner. We're going to break into the 1:09s right at the end of qualifying. No. Wow, he lost a lot of time in that final sector.
He absolutely did, and Speedquin must have had the most incredible third sector, because he was there or thereabouts with his previous time through sector 2. Amazing stuff. So great performance at the end there. Stee for the line. A small improvement, but enough to get up to P3 for Stee in the Red Bull. Nice. I think we've got just Sabetti still running. Is that right? And Dino potentially.
Yeah, Dino's not going quickly. I don't think he's pushing. He's done a 1:20.
Wow. Okay.
So, he's he like I say he started last week and won the race. So I get a feeling there's some similar tactics at play there.
Well, he's still on those medium tyres, and he's the only one. But of course, everyone around him will probably choose the same thing. That's the end of our session. I think we'll be waiting for Steve to actually, the Sabetti to get into the garage before the game will advance this one. But a very, very competitive first session there. Gerbia is the man though, the man of the hour in Zandvoort with a 1:10.007 in the Mercedes. He gets the pole position from Speedquin in the McLaren. Just 16 hundredths slower than Stee, Dion, Tomo, Gareth in 6th, despite being first for a fair chunk of that. We've got Mr. Grumpy, Sarking, Phase Whip Killer, and Ishtri, your top 10, and then almost certainly starting on mediums or hards, we'll have Luke 2 Red, Camrals, Joshi, Washi, Sabetti, AB53. Guest driving Flying Croat is in the 16th, Dan WD, Duo, and Dino made out the top times, and then Inosia, we think, realised his quali ban at least. It's looking a little bit hazy. It's not quite as bright and sunny in the pit lane. We haven't had a weather forecast confirmed, but you were suspecting we'll have a dry race, Jake.
Well, it does make you wonder, doesn't it? Because you feel like maybe if there is some weather on the horizon, that might have been some reasons to why Dino's taken this not really bothering to qualify approach.
Or possibly he's put on a wet setup, maybe. I guess that would explain someone going quite slowly, but maybe we're just being generous.
Yeah, I mean, well, one thing I would say as well is he then chose to go out on medium, so he's got a lot of new soft tyres to use up in the race if he wants to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe an aggressive strategy up foot here.
Welcome anybody just joining us for the race. You're very welcome, and let us know who you're here to support. Let us know if you see something or we've missed something important on screen as well. Absolutely value that. And just while we wait for the formation lap, it'd be a great time to subscribe to the channel, give us a like on the video, and make sure you don't miss further PSGL races. You can catch us multiple times through the week, Jake.
Yeah, you're definitely not short of action if you subscribe to PSGL in terms of racing. You've got most days of a week are pretty filled. We get 1 or 2 days off, but yeah, overnight it's all pedal to the metal, as our PC commentator George Morgan would say. Interesting strategies outside the top 10.
Definitely.
We've got 5 of the 10 drivers outside the top 10 opted start on hards, and the others going for mediums. So, I mean, from what I know, the ideal strategy around here is soft to hard. So,
yeah,
I do wonder if those guys on the hard tyres want to have that really pushed stint at the end on softs.
It could be that those medium runners are trying to see if they can make it work a one stop, or if they're already just committing to a two stop. It's all going to depend on the timing of any potential safety cars. As I watch Dino take out one of the braking markers, I wonder if that's a bit of gamesmanship and hoping that other drivers' braking points are based on the polystyrene marking boards, because he's just cleared one of those off.
Yeah, it's straight. I mean, usually most drivers do use the braking boards. I personally actually don't tend to use the braking boards that much, so I don't know. Maybe it's a tactic I should take on board for the future. But
it's interesting, isn't it? I wonder how long. I wonder if the marshals will get back out there and change it for the race, and it's pointless. But it's one approach. You know, two Ferraris locked together, Jake, in 11th and 12th. That could get a bit dodgy.
That's a good little strategy for them as well, because obviously they get the free tire choice. They've gone different ways with the strategy, which I think is quite sensible as teammates. I think as teammates, you know, to guarantee the best possible result for a team, if you go different ways on the strategy, you know, the percentage game suggests at least one of is going to be right.
Yes, you've doubled your chances of being right, haven't you? Yeah, that's good. So Gubia is on pole position, but with the inside line to the first corner is Speed Quinn in the McLaren, guest driving tonight and hoping to prove his worth and prove his place in the division. Steve in third, Dion in fourth, and I'm going to try and get a good camera angle. Here we go. We've got 5 lights. It's lights out, and away we go with PSGL's F13 race around Zandvoort. It's our 4th race of the championship. The Mercedes away slowly, but hooked it up a little bit better into the next few corners. A little bit of wheel banging between Steve and Speed Quinn, and Steve got the better of that exchange. Speed Quinn on the defensive.
Dion null round, a bit of contact with Speed Quinn. We've got more cars struggling as well. Looks like Gareth Hall, who was so impressive in qualifying, he's gone round, and a few others as well. It's a crazy start to this race.
It's so easily done around Zandvoort. Those wide bank corners invite you to have a go, but unfortunately almost always it ends in tears, as we see the other AlphaTauri of FaZe Whipkiller lose the car on cold tyres as well. He turned around. I don't think anybody collided with him, but drama for, I think, Flying Croat, Dan WD, Dion, Gareth Hall and FaZe Whipkiller all on the first lap. Incredible.
Oh, look at some of the changes already. Dino and MCFC already up 8 places.
Nice. Very nice, yeah. So, row, as you say, from the back.
Not a bad tactic.
No, indeed. Stay clean, stay out of trouble, and keep it on the island. Gabia, fastest lap as the first driver across the line as usual. But it's all change. DRS enabled already. Very quick for that to happen. I think we've got some grid issues going on.
I don't think that should have happened.
No.
Yeah. It's
somehow we're on lap
3. We're definitely not on lap 3.
Well, my tower says lap 3, so I think we've got some tower issues and some timing problems with driver transponders. We'll try and keep an eye though. Place is changing too frequently to monitor the gaps. I see Luke 2 Red very close to Joshi Washi in
Grumpy's out.
Place.
Mr. Grumpy's out of the race. And we've got a virtual safety car.
There he is.
Yeah.
T-bone the barrier. Alpine. He's between turn 9 and turn 10, the Renault corner, and out he goes, Mr. Grumpy. I wonder if he's tuned in and can let us know what happened, how he lost it. Well, we've managed to get away with just a VSC at this stage, and that will help with keeping people on plan A of their strategies. Gubia leads from Steve, and then Speed Quinn, Tomo, Sarking, Cam Rules, Istri, Joshi, Luke and Dino are your top 10, and we've managed to lose that lap back to lap 2 now, and it is lap 2 under the safety car.
That's good. And the virtual safety car should be ending soon. Mr. Grumpy, after Spa when he retired, he was saying, I should have been a championship leader. Now he's championship's looking in a terrible state after this, so it just shows how quickly your look can change. And
Cam Rolls loses the car under the virtual safety car. He's spun round. He won't thank me for catching that on the stream. That's an embarrassing slow speed little Spinella. He's recovered and he's down in 14th.
You feel so silly when those things like that happen, because it almost happens in slow motion. You see the car going round on you, and there's nothing you can do about it. But it just looks so pitiful. So yeah, he'll not be happy about that, especially when he sees it's been caught on stream. But I
We're
mean,
back to
Gilby
green
wondering
flag
what
now.
the fuss is about. Yeah, Gilby wondering what the fuss is about. He's quietly going about his business at the front.
Nice move from
We've got another
Dino.
yellow flag.
I see Dino going into the Vodafone corner and getting by around the outside of Luke 2 Red, so he's up to P8 now, and his next target very close in front is Joshi. So Luke 2 Red just trying to get his I imagine that's the hard tyres issue, just getting them back up to temperature. We've lost Tomo.
Junior's out. Yep.
On the exit of the final corner, I've just seen him flash by riding with Dino.
So Betty, his teammates got in the same place.
What's happening?
Well,
synchronized spins, and now we have our proper first safety car declared. So there's 2 retirements on lap 4. We're losing drivers as many as the laps that we managed to get through at the moment. This is not cool. We definitely want more drivers to finish than we've got laps remaining. But wow. Our first safety car already, it's lap 4. We've already had a VSC, but that wasn't enough to save the likes of Sabetti. Sabetti seems to be still running. I think he's made it to the pits, Jake. Great.
Yeah, he did destroy his car, unlike his teammate, which is good for him. And of course, now in a safety car, he effectively doesn't lose out all that much. Obviously, don't know if there's any lasting damage on the car, but yeah, a bit of an odd one. A quick reaction from Mr. Grumpy in the chat.
Yeah.
He said he believes his title fight is over. He said he wasn't even going that quick, and the raid just snapped on me. And said his confidence was high after qualifying, but yeah, that's changed around very, very quickly. So yeah, not good for him. But safety car's out then, and it's not bad news for those guys like Joshi Washi, Dino that are on alternate strategies. And I mean, look, we're on lap 5 of a race, and Dino's gone from 20th to 7th already, or 19th to 7th, should I say?
Interestingly enough, nobody tempted into the pits, Jake, on lap 4. Those soft tyres obviously feeling good enough to keep running.
Yeah, I say at certain tracks you'd probably be quite tempted to get reshut of the softs right now, but the highway around here is not too bad. Obviously, Pirelli actually do bring the hardest tyres to this track, which probably helps quite a bit, because it is I feel like it would be a tyre eater if we did have softer compounds, but we don't, so that's kind of saves that one. Looking pretty good for the Hassers right now in 4th and 5th place, but we've got so many different strategies that are going to go on now with this safety car, and based on what I've seen so far, it probably won't be the last safety car.
No, it was an inauspicious start so far anyway for the drivers. Plenty of incidents, too many to catch all of in one go on the first 4 laps, but hopefully things will calm down a little bit. We need to make sure our drivers are keeping enough of a distance between each other not to have an issue under the safety car, and especially on the restart lap. We're going to need to expect the leader to condense the field significantly. But we'll take a pause for breath and point out, obviously, as you have done already, Jake, Dino and Enosia, MMCFC, amazing starts from the back row. Sabetti lucky to get running again, despite his damage he sustained. I hope that's just front wing damage that's repairable, but certainly seen plenty of cars with floor damage in the past that struggle for the rest of the race. Plenty of laps left to run.
Yeah, absolutely. I've said in the game damage model in this game, it means that you're not quite so lucky if you have a crash, even if it doesn't destroy your car. It can have lasting implications for the rest of the race. A couple of things as well that I want to pick up on as well. Like you mentioned, they're going to have to be
sorry,
Gilbert's gone for a spin.
Yep, and he's reset to track at the same time. Spun round to point 90 degrees to the track, reset to track. Has recovered back to 4th, but I'm not sure that's within the rules, Jake.
No, probably almost a panic instant reaction,
right.
I reckon, on that one. He was so embarrassed at what he did, he just did the first thing he could think to do, which was reset to track. But that's one of those embarrassments. I was literally about to say, we're going to have to be careful first lap after the restart with cold tyre temperatures. Didn't even have to wait to the safety car to go in to see an example of that.
No, the lights haven't even gone off yet on the safety car. It would definitely affect Joshi, Luke, Enosia, Dan W. On the hard tyres, definitely difficult. We will see the safety car come in, so we won't suffer that one any longer. We've all seen enough safety car laps to last a lifetime in the last week, I'm sure. Mr. Grumpy also pointing out the reset to track. But Steve will take the role of the safety car, and he, of course, will have the first choice when to anticipate the start. I'm watching from P3. I think he's pressed go. No, he's not. Sort of a little bit of a fake out there. He goes again, and Speedquin, Sarking, fairly equidistant, with Gurbir quite a way back. Sarking looking likely against Speedquin, but holds back, doesn't go for a dive bomb, and much better to stay safe. Looks like Gareth Hall making up some places there, Jake.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think Canosia let his teammate through, and Gareth Hall, ever be opportunistic for, I'll take a piece of that and grab the position as well. So
yeah.
Aston Martin trying to work together there. Obviously Dion Nor on the soft tyres, but Gareth Hall taking full advantage. That's a really impressive move. Nice
work. Definitely you can catch some drivers napping, and some drivers have had their coffee, because they're definitely wide awake to it all. Gurbir has caught back to Sarking. Speedquin also looking like his tyres are in a better operating window than Steve's at the moment. They're 6 laps old. I don't know how much longer those soft tyres will last, but a cool-off period under the safety car will have certainly helped.
Nice move from Dino, past Joshi Washi up into 6th place on those medium tyres. AB53 Mo has had a spin at the back as well, so he's lost his front wing, so that's a big blow to his race.
Yeah.
And Steve looking to try and build the gap. He didn't expect to be in the lead under the safety car, and we've got Duofin also having a spin out of the last, just coming around the final corner. So a few drivers struggling, as we thought they would on the restart.
Yeah, but Joshi has certainly got those tyres operating well, so definitely pays to know your tyre warm-up routine under the safety car if you're going to go running those hard tyres. We've got side-by-side action between Luke and Dion through a very fast section of the track. Luke in P8, Dion P9, but these drivers very close to one another. Phase Whip Killer getting past. I think maybe Inosia has had an issue.
Yeah, gone off the track. I wonder if he's got damage. He looks like he had a lot of understeer there. Yeah, he's got front wing damage on the right-hand side, so it was such a good start from the back after that qualifying ban, but it's all gone wrong now, and he's going to have to pit with that damage, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I fancy Dion here is just shaping Luke Red up for a DRS pass. He had quite a decent amount of overspeed, but decided to hold back. Here he goes now. You can catch an amazing toe down the bank final corner. He's come out from the slipstream not at the most opportune time, and actually lost a little bit of speed against Luke Red, so hit the brick wall of dirty air, and Phase Whip Killer does make the move work past Gareth. So Gareth now, I wonder if those soft tyres are not in great shape, because Phase Whip Killer got by on the mediums.
Yeah, Dion's looking every way past him, trying to find a way past this Ferraris. The problem is, he's coming up to a part of the track that really doesn't lend itself to overtaking, and he's looking a bit stuck at the moment. Joshi Washi is out of the race. Same place as his teammate. I don't believe that. Out of turn 7 and 8 again.
Yeah. So was that just lost? I wonder if that was just lost on his own. I don't think he had a car particularly close to him, and we have our second safety car, and we haven't had 10 laps of racing yet. So yeah, unfortunately there was definitely at least one wheel missing off Josh's car, so damage model influencing the safety car decision. I fully expect though now we will see some pit stops, Jake.
Yeah, this is probably around the window where those on soft tyres will pit. Yep, Steve's coming in, so is Speedquin. Yeah, I think they're all coming in. The only well, this try is going to come in, but he will have to keep
Dino stays out. Dino on 8 uphold mediums is staying out, with Dion coming in. Luke Red staying out on hard tyres, so he's going to have to warm up those hard tyres all over again. Of course, these safety car laps will help him do a one-stop, but when we've got double-stacked Haas cars in the pits, you don't often see that quite so obviously, as he runs directly through the legs of one of his mechanics for history, but he's lost just about every track position going. He was also serving a 5-second penalty, it seems, in the mix of all of that. It's quite easy to trip over the pit exit as well, Jake, here. Very, very punishing tight line the game forces you to run. So I'm just keeping an eye on the drivers as they go through, but they all seem pretty aware of that factor.
Yeah, both Hassers lost out tremendously there. Istrai obviously we're having to queue behind his teammate, Sarking's now behind Gerbier as well, so really did not work out at all well for those Haas cars. And look at that, Dino, race winner last week from the back of the grid, is currently leading the race after starting 19th this week. So, I mean, I'm starting to get to the point where I think, is Dino ever going to qualify for a race again?
Absolutely.
This tactic seems to be working pretty well for him.
Yeah, well, obviously under the safety car conditions again. I don't see it coming in on this lap, unfortunately. So we'll have at least one more to go. Your leaders have the top 2 and 4th haven't pitted yet. FaZe Whipkiller did pit early on. I think that was a damage related pit stop. So we're all on very different strategies, with everyone going on to hards or mediums from 6th onwards, freshly under this safety car period. Yeah, I've got different opinions about how to display the track, whether to display the track map or not. I tend to find it a little bit distracting, and it's a little bit gamey for a broadcast, but each to their own. Where do you sit on the track map debate of the moment?
I usually have the full track map on myself, but yeah, I can see why it would be distracting as well. But yeah, I'd probably say a full track map on is... what has happened there? Dion Null has collided with Flying Croat, so he's got a 5-second penalty. Kind of a shame for him, really, because he can easily make those hards last to the end, and he was in a pretty solid position, really.
Yeah, he's done well to crash into somebody behind him, so he might have a cause to complain about that with the game. I know it's quite possible to be run into from behind and still get a penalty yourself, so he may decide that that it's not it's worth an appeal on that one.
Yeah, I mean, unless in exceptional circumstances, I think the general rule is the guy behind is responsible if there is a collision. So yeah, that's one that potentially could get appealed and removed, I think, if Dion chooses to do that. Safety car in this lap, and with Dino having a car behind him on hards, it might be a little bit of an opportunity on this restart here for Dino to try and build a bit of a gap before he pits.
Could well be. I haven't seen him doing anything particularly aggressive on the warm-up, but then his tyres are 10 laps old, so he may not have to work the wheel too hard. Taking them very, very slowly here, Jake, through the final corner. And he goes.
Tactics. The longer he keeps them going slowly, the more the hard tyres.
Wow.
Oh, that was a gap that was always never really going to be there. FaZe Whipkiller just about gets away with it.
Yeah, that was aggressive.
Gone so wrong.
Yeah, the timing difference was pretty extreme, but he ended up losing ground on the straight after pushing him round the final section of the bank corner. But looks like we've escaped that initial restart. Steve's dropped down a place. It looks like Speedquin's got by, and we've got side-by-side action between Luke and FaZe Whipkiller has gone round on that accident. So side-by-side action didn't do the cars any good. FaZe Whipkiller losing out, and he down to 13, but I think he survived, Jake.
Yeah, and he's another one who resets track, so might be something to put in the Discord after the race, because a few drivers are forgetting about that. But that's an important move from Speedquin on Steve, because they're effectively the leading pair when the safety car came out. So that's a crucial move from Speedquin on those mediums, whereas Steve's gone for hards. A few different strategies going on there. I think the hards will definitely go to the end. The mediums probably could as well, but you probably will have to nurse them in the latter stage of the race if we don't get any more safety cars.
Yes, completely agree. And Steve has just clattered the wall. That similar issue we saw in qualifying twice, where the driver just twitches on the bump on the way out of the final section of the banking, and Steve hit the wall, missed the pit entry, it looks like, and he's tumbling down the order. I think he's got significant damage. Can't get around those first few corners. It'll be his right side. Yeah, right end plate gone. at least, as the car's struggling to get around him, and he's clattered
dear.
into from the Haas. Yeah.
Luke Toured's out the race.
Oh no! What happened?
He's gone. You can see his car.
Yeah.
It looks like at the exit of turn 8 again, and maybe we just caught it a bit later on in the exit of a corner, but it's another retirement. That's another safety car.
I'm not sure I've ever seen 3 safety cars in such quick succession, but I thought we were going to avoid it with FaZe Whipkiller rejoining and Steve managing to get round. Steve I don't think he could have done much different, as the Haas went by and finished the job that Steve had done himself on his own front wing. His own front wing gone completely, so we'll certainly expect to see Steve and FaZe Whipkiller coming in. Unfortunately, Luke Toured will take no further part in this session. Dan WD has gone on to wet tyres. Does he know something we don't, Jake?
I'm going to go with no. This is...
a banter run from Dan, I think.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Cam Rules is in the pits. In the other Ferrari, he's got rid of his medium tyres and going on to hards. That safety car that his teammate brought out, I don't think has really helped him, to be honest. No,
so it certainly wasn't a deliberate Singapore Nelson Piquet style safety car triggering, because his teammate didn't do anything particularly advantageous. I wonder whether Dino would regret not pitting at this point, Jake. 13 laps old mediums. He's got a significant lead, and probably could have come out again in front.
You almost wonder what was happening with Sabetti there, because he had a whole train of cars behind him, and Dino was like 10 seconds up the road. Was he going really slowly under a safety car? I don't really know what was going on there, to be honest, but they have caught up now, so no harm done. No harm done in that sense. Dion Null, tell you what, this wouldn't be a bad opportunity to serve his penalty, to be honest. As Dan WDL speeds in the pit lane, I'm expecting a retirement here because, well, I don't have many words for what's going on at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, you reacted with some shock when I told you that only 5 people finished in Spa last week, but this race is sort of proving as to why that kind of happened, because we are seeing a lot of incidents here, and it really is still anybody's race because of that. I've got to admit, I'm loving the switch I made to commentate on Thursdays, because the Thursday tiers are very entertaining.
Not short of things to say about what's going on track. No super large gaps or processions to the end. Certainly, we can give it that much credit. But yes, Dino in the lead then, lap 15 from the back of the grid for the second race in succession. Now Sabetti letting a fairly big gap build up again to Dino's car. I wonder if he wants an aggressive warm-up, or he's gone to AI while he checks out the race director. I know that's a fairly popular move from some of the drivers under safety car conditions. See who's on warnings and what. But we're doing pretty well for penalties at the moment. Dion on a penalty. Let's have a quick look. Dion and Dan are the only penalties with 5 seconds, so no track extending penalties at this stage.
Yeah, just looking at the championship standings, obviously we're still very early days. It's only round 4 of 13, of course, but this is a huge opportunity for Dino here. He's currently leading the championship anyway by a point, and out of the 4 retirements, 3 of them are in the top 5 in the championship.
Very nice.
So really, Ishtry in 4th is the only guy that's close to Dino in the championship at the moment who is still in the race, and he's currently in 10th. So
yeah,
this is a huge opportunity for Dino here to potentially build up a bit of a championship lead, and kind of out of nowhere, really, because he didn't really do much until last week. So it just shows how much the championship flips around. But he's doing a solid job at the moment, and it just really depends on if we get another safety car and the timing of it, because that will influence things. Good news for Dan, he's ditched the wet tyres, but then gone on to 10-lap-old hard tyres, so some weird decisions on tyres, to say the least. I get the feeling he's probably not going to score any points here today. Things not going the way we have. Duofin is out of the race under the safety car.
Duofin out. Let's see if we can see any evidence when Dan gets there. Dan's a long way back though, so I'll ride with Dan and see if we can see.
Looking at the map, it's around a bank curve, which I believe he had a spin at earlier, so it's not a corner he was particularly enjoying.
That's catching people out tonight a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And
just mentioned this try being the only real close challenger to Dino in the championship who's still in the race, and he's now got a 5-second penalty for colliding with Whip Killer, and that is... Oh, and Gerby has got one for colliding... Well, Gerby and Sarking have both got a penalty each, but, I mean, Sarking was the car behind in that instance.
Yeah. FaZe Whip Killer must wonder what he's done to upset everybody today. He's...
Oh, and Gerby and Sarking have collided again. They've now got 10 seconds of penalties.
Okay. I'm a little bit concerned about that.
There's a bit of a rivalry going on there between the Mercedes and the Haas driver. They probably need to calm it down a little bit.
I get concerned when I see things that might be considered retaliation with each other, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt and or the presence of possible glitches. I'm not sure if the safety car's on. Yeah, it's on its way in. I did just see the lights go out, and that was confirmed on the screen. So Sabetti's going to need to get a little bit closer to Dino. Otherwise, Dino's going to have it all his own way on the way out of here. Yeah, Mr. Grumpy living up to his name at the moment in the chat. Kabir again. What's happening?
Yeah, Gerby. And Gerby's got another one. He's up to 20 seconds now. What is going on between those two? This is getting a little bit ridiculous, I've got to be honest. There could be some big repercussions for those pair after the race, because you get the feeling that's getting a bit more personal than it ought to be.
Definitely.
The safety car is coming in, and
Dino
has gone.
He presses the loud pedal.
He has left Sabetti for dead.
Has. Sabetti had all the body language in the car of someone who just wasn't trying to compete at the start. I think he knows he's not going to do very well on hard tyres against Dino ahead on mediums. We've got some action into the first corner from Croat passing Dion. And that's going to give a little bit of impetus to Whip Killer, who goes running outside through Hugenholtz. It's a line that tends to run out on you when the car from the inside is getting back up to speed. Not a great deal of traction on the outside around that corner, but looks like Speed Quinn challenging Sabetti and hits Sabetti.
Ooh.
Just about saves it, but definitely hit him in the rear and almost put himself into a spin. Gabia gets by Quinn, who defends hard, turns it round, and he's in the kitty litter. Yeah, Quinn perhaps hanging on a little bit too hard, a little bit too aggressively after making a mistake earlier on. Looks like we're avoiding any further cautions. Oh dear.
Yeah, Gerby has gone. I mean, a ton of penalties anyway, of course, but yeah, he looks like he spun around the sort of stadium section, around turns 10 and 11 sort of region, so a bit of an odd one. In amongst this, Dino's just like, alright guys, I'll just drive up the road. And one good thing as well here, I haven't actually mentioned this yet, I meant to, the pit lane loss around here is only 14 seconds, so...
Yeah, even at racing
really
speed,
plays into Dino's hands. Yeah, so that plays hugely into Dino's hands with the gap he's already building on this restart.
Yeah, definitely. There's action up and down the grid, though. I can see we've got Istri, Gareth Hall and Cam Rawls all very close to each other. I don't like it when you get three cars close to each other, Jake. It's especially when we've had several safety car periods already. Cam Rawls closing under the middle sector here with Gareth. It looked like Gareth had a good setup in the first sector against Istri, but Cam Rawls closing fast. Hard tyres on Gareth's car and Cam Rawls with Istri on the mediums, and Dino's still out there on 17 lap old mediums, and as Jake was saying, building his gap and building his opportunity to hold on to the lead later in the race, or jump first when it comes to the safety car potentially.
Yeah, and with the amount of safety cars we've had, I think he could easily stretch us out to the point where he can go on softs, so things are looking pretty solid for him right now, as long as he doesn't make any mistake before he's out on his own. Flying Croat getting close to Sabetti.
He was, yeah.
But again, the sort of the way you can enter that turn one, you can leave the inside open, but it's just there's no good sticking your nose in there. It's always a gap that's going to close.
Yep.
I think Flying Croat did realise that, which was good. But a bit of a Q4 bound Sabetti. I don't think he's the quickest driver out there at the moment, and but there's no real way for these guys through. Of course, DRS now active, so more opportunities may present themselves. And I'm still looking at Cam Rawls, who is under all sorts of pressure from Steve.
He is, and these cars keep concertining back up and away from each other, but never really getting far away. The Flying Croat has dropped back from Sabetti, perhaps made a small mistake with Whip Killer now right on his tail. No one can generate a decent gap so far after this last restart. Apart, of course, from our leader, Dino.
Yeah, Dan WDL's had a spin further down as well. Stee has gone into the gravel now as well. That's at turn 10 and 11 again. And Stee, who of course was at one point
and around goes
here.
Sabetti from second place. Sorry, Jake, but Sabetti on the final corner, stuck down the inside of the banking. I think he'll get out of there, but he's slipping down the field. Speedquin's gone from the session.
Yep.
And a safety car. We go again.
And we've got our 4th safety car on lap 19. Now, the good news is, I believe that's the maximum safety car you can have. Unless I'm getting confused.
I didn't even know such a thing existed, but great if we have. But yeah, I don't think I've been here before in these uncharted waters. There's a McLaren of Speedquin is out of the race and stranded on the track. He's just finally been cleared by the marshals, but Dino was about to catch him as Dino tours around under the delta requirements of the safety car, and I'm sure he'll head into the pits now and have a 16-lap run to the finish.
Oh, I'm just more of a quick look actually. How long does it estimate the soft tyres last? I've got the data in front of me. 14 laps. Do you know what? With a couple of safety car laps, I think Dino could do this, to be honest. This is actually not bad timing for him.
No, he has to pit now though. He's only going to cost himself if he doesn't.
Let's see. Is he heading for the pits? Yes, indeed he is.
Great stuff. So Dino, for his first pit stop from the very back of the grid, pits from the lead on lap 20. Croat in with him. He was Croat was overtaken by a speeding car into the pits. I think it was Faye's Whip Killer. Beat him into the pit lane. Dino back out there as Gabir goes by him, I think, and Inosia with several cars staying out. Dion and Gareth opting to stay on those hard tyres. I don't know if they'll be running those to the end potentially.
Well, I wonder if Dino hasn't got the access to tyre data that I have, because he hasn't gone for softs, he's gone for hards.
Yeah.
Whereas Faye's Whip Killer, who was kind of on a similar sort of strategy, albeit a few positions behind, he has gone for softs. So I'm going to keep an eye on Whip Killer here, because he, for me, has got that strategy absolutely spot on. Not saying Dino will be slow on those hard tyres, but he's definitely missed a trick there, and it might be harder to overtake these guys in front than it would have been if he was on the softer tyres.
Well, it definitely pays to do your homework, and one of the beauties of doing practice races is that you don't tend to get as many. If you're doing it against AI, certainly you don't tend to get as many safety cars to throw out your strategic plans and learnings when it comes to tyre deg and tyre life. Dino then hard tyres to the end. At least he can afford to be aggressive and push to the end. Dion inherits the lead with Gareth in second place, both on equal life 10-lap-old hard tyres. Then Camrals and Inosia. Inosia served a quali ban of sorts, manufactured his own quali ban, I think, and started at the back with Dino. Then Gabir, after a dramatic race, is in P5. Looks like we've got a Red Bull shaping for the pit lane. Dino has come in. I don't know, is he listening to you, Jake?
I wonder. I just about wonder if he is, because that is quite. Here we go. It's soft. No, mediums are going on.
Oh,
okay. Well,
not listening to you at all. Then just he wants mediums he likes medium tyres for this race, and that's what he wants to do with it. So.
Well, I guess that's probably the reason then he went on to hard tyres, was obviously because he ran softs from the start, and he had to use 2 different compounds. So probably just getting those hard tyres out of the way, but he still missed a trick there for me, because he could go on soft tyres quite easily and he would have obviously still been in P6. So if you are watching this, Dino, which I know you were in qualifying,
yes.
Yeah, he missed a bit of a trick there, but who knows, he might still go on to win the race anyway, so maybe
he might do, but of course he's lost 12 places making that double pit stop, back-to-back pit stops. So he's got it all to do for the end of the race. He's set himself a good challenge anyway, and if we are able to run this without a further safety car, then all the better for everybody's sake. It's lap 22 of 36.
Yeah, apparently according to the comments, it's 5 safety cars that you can have, so We still have the option for another one, so that's interesting to know. Yeah, I wasn't sure how many it was. To be fair, I've not often been in a situation where I've had to see 4 safety cars, so it's a bit of like you say, it's uncharted territory in that one. The problem for Dino now is he's behind a lot of other guys who are on fresh tyres as well, so he's track position-wise, he's really not in the best of positions here. So it's Dion, Gareth Hall, Cam Rules that lead the way. The safety car's not coming in this lap unless it's the latest call in all of history. Nope, we have got another lap on the safety car. And of course, Anossia, MCFC, who's in 4th, has a 10 seconds to add on to his race time anyway. So really, these top 3 on those hard tyres are in a good position, particularly Cam Rules, whose hard tyres were a little bit fresher than those around him.
Yeah, definitely. We've had a question in the chat, Jake, which is how do you join PSGL? Well, we're closed at the moment for the start of the season. There is a mid-season rejig of leagues, is there not?
Yeah, there have been mid-season sign-ups opening probably, I had to guess, probably in the next few weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you join the Discord, join the PSGL Discord, then all the information will be on there. As Gerbia has yet another incident under the safety car.
I think I'm going to ride with him under the safety car and see what's going on, because wow, this has happened what, 5 times? 5 times.
Yeah,
already.
He's on 25 seconds of penalties now.
Some learning to be done from Gerbia following this race as to how to behave under the safety car, I guess, unless he's been the innocent party on 5 separate occasions.
You'd say it was unlikely.
Yes.
Say it was unlikely, but on 5 occasions it's just kind of popped up. But yeah, I mean, you can't overtake anyone under a safety car. So I mean, personally, from my experience, just always leave a little bit of a gap. There's no point being right behind the car in front. You know, it's just there's no reward and there's plenty of risk, as we've seen already. So safety car in this lap.
We are going to finally lose it. Yeah.
How Dion approaches this restart.
It is old hard tyres, pretty much on the top 3 of the grid. So you fancy Gareth to get him to get a good run here and make hay while he's at the front of the grid, I think. But he'd be hoping for another caution period later to get that soft tyres, and it was Cam Rawls really got caught out on the safety car. We've got contact in the back, Jake. There's damage, there's debris flying all over the place on the exit of the final corner.
It's Steve, he's got no front wing. I didn't see what happened to him, but and Fizz, Whip Killer and Flying Crow having some drama as well. Yeah,
I saw a front wing disappear off a Mercedes. I think that was Croat. There's a little bit of he's still got his front wing, but there's a little bit of rubbing going on between Phase Killer. Yeah, lots of tyre banging going on. Whip Killer gets ahead. Croat loses aero and is out there on the edge. He's cleared out one of the braking boards. He's clearly got some damage on board. I can't see it on the front wing, but dropping right down to the back of the grid. So another yellow flag as he tries to recover back towards the pits, I think. But no change at the front. Dion in front with those old hard tyres, with Gareth behind him. Then Cam Rawls and the first of the medium runners, Inosia MCFC, in 4th place. Gerbia somehow has managed to stay in 5th place. But of course, with the number of penalties he's got, that's going to take him well out of contention.
I thought Anossia was going to go up the inside to turn 1 on Cam Rules, but he opted against it. Cam Rules defending pretty nicely in the end. But on those medium tyres, you can see he's just got a bit of a pace advantage over these guys at the moment. Gareth Hall takes an extremely wide line in there, almost tempting Cam Rules to go up the inside, which thankfully he didn't. And yeah, just a bit of very lively restart there, and Dion Knoll just edging himself away from Gareth Hall, but of course he has got that 5-second penalty, but if I remember rightly, that's one that could be removed.
Was that for...
Yeah, that was when, I can't remember who it was, but someone went into the back of him.
Right, so. Yeah. Looks like Gerbia and Ishtri are back on track together again. Let's hope they escape this one unscathed. Ishtri closing, and I'm not sure what kind of mindset Gerbia is going to be in. Is he just about finishing the race as a higher track position as possible, or is he just trying to stay out of trouble at this stage and pay off those awful penalties he's collected?
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for him to score points here. As again, I see Anossia weaving, looking for a way past the Ferrari, but still no way through. And of course, Camrose will have DRS on Gareth as well to help him defend. But we've got... Oh, what's happening here? Oh, there's a huge crash. Sabetti into the wall. Looks like there was something went on between him, Dino, and F13 Mo. And I don't know if... Has the McLaren got damage? No, there's like either car's got damage, but Sabetti with a huge shunt into the wall. And he has no front wing, but I've got to be honest, I'm surprised he's got all 4 wheels still on the car. That was a huge crash.
Yeah, and he's still running. He's dropping back, obviously, significantly. And Dan WD is actually starting to catch him now. But yeah, Sabetti, did you see who he made contact with, or whether it was a lone spin?
I think it might have been some contact with either a McLaren of F53 Mo or Dino's Red Bull. They were both around where Sabetti was, but I unfortunately only saw him go into the wall. I didn't actually see what caused it. So, but
yep.
Either way, it's not really helping Dino, who really shouldn't have been here on the restart anyway, as we mentioned earlier with the tyre situation. So he's kind of out of position thanks to a bit of poor strategy decisions. Right, this could be an opportunity for Anossia into turn 1. But once again, he's just not close enough.
He hasn't got the top speed, has he, to get by that Ferrari?
No, and obviously Camrose has the help while he's right behind Gareth Paul as well. These top 4 cars very close together, with Gerby just a little bit further back. Istrai still right up behind with Mercedes. Yeah. And I wonder if Istrai's not too willing to try a move, just probably because he sees the amount of penalties Gerby has, and obviously A, he's going to beat him anyway, and B, probably wonders what kind of mood Gerby is in.
Yes, quite. I think he's relatively familiar with the kind of mood that Gerby is in, I think. After the race, fastest lap for Stee, who's managed to get repairs on the car, get some soft tyres on to the end, and Sabetti is pitting right now for a new wing and soft tyres. Might still get points out of this one, so certainly worth staying on track.
Gerby spun.
There he goes.
Gerby has spun. Turn 10 looked like the entrance just you'd used too much curb, put the power down, and the back end was like, you're kidding, right? That's not going to work in a million years. So Gerby drops down to the tail end of the points, and of course will drop out the points anyway. And that might give Istrai some room to sort of manoeuvre, as I see here. Facebook Phil having to go super defensive against Dino. Yeah, Dino looking for a move. And I'll tell you what, in real life, I'm not sure how Marco will be that keen with an AlphaTauri fan defending off a Red Bull at those lengths. But
yes,
of course, in PSGL, it doesn't matter so much. So
Dino almost backed the corner into Tarzan, didn't he? He was a little bit crossed up because I think Whip Killer was taking the middle of the track, as he's entitled to do. But Dino was certainly showed a good amount of car control on the way in there.
Yeah, and he's going to stay behind, look for a move potentially on the next DRS straight. Oh, Whipkiller getting out of shape there on the curb, so he might have an opportunity down this other
here
DRS.
He goes. Oh, beautiful move. Wow. that was nice.
I was in my mouth for a second there. Yeah, I was in my mouth for a second there. I saw that unfold.
He's lost a lot of ground to Whipkiller, who comes back at him. I wonder if that was ERS assisted. Whipkiller had a huge amount of overspeed. On the exit the corner he was done in. Dino's struggling. I know he must be impatient to get back into the action end of the grid, but can't get a clean and well held position done on Facebook. A big dive bomb and a wheel bang that could have ended very, very badly, but they just about get through it because they made wheel to wheel contact, Jake.
Yeah, that was super committed. He could, I suppose, depending on your point of view, you could argue it was a bit over the limit, but Dino determined to get through. And once again, we're seeing this in F13. None of the guys who are the early championship setters, none of them really doing that great tonight.
I just cut to Anossia and he lost it on the exit curb. He's pointing the wrong way on the track. He's going to reverse in front of everybody else. Just about managed to avoid everybody, and Anossia down to P9. Unfortunately, I caught that on stream. Sorry, Anossia.
Yeah, and that's yet more late race woes for Anossia. He's actually, on 2 occasions this season already, he's crashed out of the race on the final lap. So he's really not enjoying the latter stages of his races, and although this isn't the final lap, you could argue in a way he's surprised it's not, because obviously the safety cars have slowed his race down quite a bit. So really late race is something that Anossi is just struggling a little bit with as the car gets lighter on fuel.
Potentially that's about tyre wear. As I see Sarking forced to go around the outside of Whip Killer down the main straight. He's on the high line through Tarzan. Just about held it, but he had two wheels on the grass, having to dodge out behind Whip Killer. And I think Whip Killer's tyres are edging towards the end of their life, and I'm not sure he's going to get this to the end on those soft tyres. They certainly seem to have given up on him already, Jake.
Yeah, it just doesn't look like he ever really had that great pace on them, so maybe just not quite at home with the soft tyres. I wonder if there's been a mistake as well from cam rules, because the top three were all very close together, but cam rules has just drifted away slightly from the leading pair. So this potentially presents an opportunity for Gareth Hall to attack the race leader.
Just caught a good moment for Flying Croat, clean DRS assisted overtake into turn 1 past Stee, so he's got off the back of the grid at least. Gareth is pretty close to Dion, but 7/10 through the final corner might be too much to action a pass, and he's just going to have to stare at the back of that Aston Martin another lap, unfortunately.
Yep. Just going to have to try and pick his moment, maybe capitalise on an error, but otherwise wait for the next DRS opportunity. Ishtry just starting to close to the back of Cam Rules. Maybe Cam Rules just lacking a bit of pace, surprising somewhat, because obviously he has younger hard tyres than the guys in front of him. But yeah, just struggling to keep with that leading pair at the moment, and that's going to bring Ishtry, and he suspects probably Dino right into the back of him shortly. Yeah,
Dino is has got a little bit of clear track, and he's catching fairly robotically up to the challenge for the podium effectively, with Dion having that penalty. A reminder then of the penalty situation that we've got at the moment. Dion on 5, Gubia, less said about the better, 25 seconds, and Inossi MCFC is on 5 seconds. So Dion will drop out of this battle at the front, leaving Gareth potentially in the lead. But there's still 5 laps to run, and if we get 5 racing laps, we'll be doing well tonight, Jake, without interruption.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wonder if Gareth Hall's just maybe not got quite the same speed for the latter part of the lap as Dion, because he just cannot get any closer than 8/10 away by the time they get to that main straight. And I think, looking at it, Gareth Hall's quicker through the first part of the lap, but he's sort of losing time in the second part of the lap, and that's really the part of the lap where he needs to be right up behind the Aston Martin. So, yeah, interesting comparison between the pair of them. Dino is now right on the back of Ishtry, and we know how quick Dino is, so I suspect he's going to be attempting a move in the not-too-distant future. Between the only 2 guys, of course, who are near the top of the championship coming into this race.
Yeah, so
still in the race.
They'll want to be careful. They've both got reason to be careful in a battle situation, but Ishtry's got the track position, and he's got every right to take his own line. So he doesn't need to make this any easier than it needs to be for Dino.
And not to foreshadow or anything, but based on what we've seen so far, based on some of Dino's moves, he's not really thinking about the championship all that much. So yeah, I get the feeling that if he senses an opportunity based on what we've seen so far, he's going to go for it. And that opportunity could be right now into turn 1. This is good, definitely one I want to keep an eye on here.
Yeah,
here
and
he goes.
he makes that move, doesn't he, to the inside, puts him on the outside. This can be done by Dino. You can go a little bit quicker around the outside on the high line. He's maintained his line and successfully through it for both drivers without contact or damage, so that was good.
I went on board with Gareth Hall for a split second, and he somehow collected a massive oversteer moment. But Dion's gone! Dion, the race leader, has spun round!
Wow, okay, so again, before we get to the end, oh wow, Sarking was about to make a dive bomb, and just as Dion unghosted, so thankfully avoided nerfing him into the barriers, but Dion...
Oh, look at Dino! Look at Dino right round the outside! That's another fantastic move from Dino, and he's up into the podium spots.
Excellent stuff. So Dino right up there again, going for the win, I think, tonight. I think the the visor's down, and he's pushing hard, and he's probably got the best tyres of the top 3 to see this race out. 3 laps to go. He's got about 2.5 seconds from the leader, and on his current pace, it's not impossible.
No, and Dan WDL, who is somehow in 10th spot, has just had a spin. When I say somehow, anyone who has only just tuned in, he was on wet tyres earlier.
Yes,
so that's right. My reason for thinking. No, oh, and there's a collision. FaZe Whip Killer and an Ossia MCFC collided going around turn 1. They were both way off the racing line. I only caught the latter end of it. It almost looked like one driver was shoving the other off the track. So, and I think FaZe Whip Killer has just let an Ossia through. So maybe FaZe Whip Killer, maybe it's just a mistake on his part, and you know, fair play. He recognises his mistake and he's given the position up. So that's a good sportsmanship there.
Excellent stuff. I was keeping an eye on Cam Rolls, who was certainly within a second of Gareth, but doesn't seem to be able to stay with him through the middle sector very easily. Gareth on a conservation run with these tyres to the end of the race, and he's got 2 complete laps to run on them. Gareth from Cam Rolls, then Dino chasing them down in 3rd place after a somewhat questionable strategic decision earlier in the race. It could be magic, it could all work out beautifully, but he's within DRS now, and Dino with 2 laps to go on the hunt for this win tonight. Jake?
Yeah, could still win this race. If he'd have maybe gone for soft tyres, I know it would have been touch and go with like the degradation and stuff, but I think he would have had the pace to just win this one pretty comfortably. But he still could win it amazingly, which is just shows how good his pace has been in this race, and obviously as well the key to making your way back through the field. As we got another yellow flag, oh that's looks like that's flying crow out of Gerbier, sorry, further down the field. But yeah, it just shows how good his pace is, and you know and his overtaking skills, because he's been caught behind a lot of cars, he's not been afraid to go for some moves.
No, he's not shy, is he, Dean? That dive bomb into Tarzan was a great move, and some of the moves he's done around the outside of unexpected corners. I did say before the race that this really is a track to wait for turn 1, but he's not obeyed that one, and it's worked out for him. Remember, we mentioned when he pitted for hards and then again for mediums that FaZe Whip Killer pitted for the softs at the same time. He's not actually fared particularly well, but he's had a little bit of contact here and there as Dino gets a great run on the 2 of them. Cam Rolls goes around the outside, gets the lead. Does he hold on to the lead? They're going to turn left, they're going to turn right. What happens here? Gareth turned round. Yeah, Gareth round. Dino then lives to stay in the battle as Cam Rolls rather aggressively, but I didn't manage to see who was predominantly at fault between Cam Rolls and Gareth. I'm sure they'll each have their own opinions, but this is the battle at the end of the race for Dino, 2 tenths away from first place here. He's got all the grip in the world compared to the car in front of him, and Cam Rolls has got to make this Ferrari super wide. He's taking the middle of the track to ward off an inside move. Dino's got it all to do into Hans Ernst. This is probably his only opportunity. Does he dive bomb? He does not. Rides the outside curb. Can he get this job done just on a slipstream on the way out of the final corner? That's it now. Cam Rolls then towards the line. He may well hold on here. I think he's got it. I think Cam Rolls in the Ferrari is going to take this win, but Dino is going to close. It's not enough. Cam Rolls takes the win in Zandvoort. Dino second. Istri manages to get that 3rd place, and Dion, a 5-place penalty will come. So Sarking in 4th. I think Gareth will
That was a photo finish
survive.
Photo finish to Gareth Hall and Ossia. Gareth Hall, I think Ossia got it, but with his penalties, obviously drops down anyway. So,
so Gareth and FaZe Whip Killer then, and Ossia will not finish 8th, I'm certain. Kabir has a penalty of his own, so Dan WD may well get 2 or 3 points out of this race, despite making some somewhat banter decisions when it comes to strategy. 9th, I believe it will be, and Flying Crow will get the final point of our race tonight, with Sabetti just behind. Not just behind, it was Stee actually on the overlap. Cam Rolls has had a late penalty. I've seen that before. That's probably rubbish.
Yeah, I was going to say 20-second penalty for ignoring your flag after he crosses the line. That's very, very random. Yeah, it was a super aggressive battle between Camrose and Gareth Hall. I got a pretty good view of it, to be honest with you. It's one of those where you kind of want to see both drivers' perspectives. It's such a difficult call on that one because it narrows all the time. So the space for two of these very wide F1 cars is always questionable. So it's a tough one. Maybe Gareth Hall feels Camrose could have given him more space. Maybe Camrose feels Gareth Hall should have backed out. It's probably going to be two very different opinions, like you said. But it is. Well, it's Camrose that wins the race. Ignore the podium.
Yes, I wasn't commentating over the podium because I was pretty confused. But it's the Camrose garbage penalty that happened. So we will just have to read out our suspected finishing order, which is actually Camrose for Wales and Ferrari in first place, starting 12th. Then Dino will get second place after taking it right to the end from a 19th place starting order and presumably driver of the day kind of performance. Istri and Sarking, both for Spain and both for Haas, getting third and fourth. Then Dion, Gareth, struggling on that last lap big time and bringing it home in fifth. Then Phase Whip Killer, Camrose. Inosia will have 10 seconds added to his time, remember, so will not finish where he is on the grid. Dan WD, Croat.
Well, I believe he will, actually, because he's 19 seconds in front of the next car, so that penalty doesn't actually do anything for him, so Inosia does get 8.
Brilliant. So Dan WD, Flying Croat, Sabetti and Stee, I think gets us down to about P13 in the end. But wow, full of drama that one, Jake.
Yeah, I've got... Yeah, Mr. Grumpy, who's obviously still in the session, he looked at the race director and apparently Carroll's got the penalty on lap 37 of 36.
Yeah, I've seen that twice already this season, so it's...
So there's no issue with that. Camrose is your race winner. Only by a tenth of a second, though. We had a few photo finishes right at the end there. And yeah, I like to give driver of the day after every race, but it's probably no surprise. It has to go to Dino for 19th to second.
Definitely.
And with some of his overtaking, it's kind of a no-brainer, really. So for a second week in a row, Dino's my driver of the day, and for a second, in the space of 2 races, Dino's gained 37 positions. So.
Well, long may it continue, and it was the 37th lap that got Camrose unstuck, but thankfully there were only 36 true laps in the race. I think tonight's race was brought to you by the number 37. It looks like. Jake, thank you for the invitation to guest commentate tonight. It's been a pleasure, and I think that's about all we've got time for tonight. Look forward to the next race, same time next week, of course. But make sure you subscribe to PSGL because there's racing here, there, and everywhere, and some incredible championships going on as well. Little plug for my own league, 7 p.m. Sunday. Tune in for F11. But apart from that, guys, I've been Webbo tonight. Say goodbye to everybody, Jake.
Yeah, goodbye everybody, and if you still want some more racing, the PC race is currently going on right now. Currently got 3.4k viewers, which is just mad. So,
that's insane.
Go tune into that one.
Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for watching and commenting. Leave us a like and a comment, and we will catch you on the next race day.